Hey guys, in today's video, you can learn how you can send emails using NodeMailer with the help of Gmail in NestJS. Let's first open our VS Code. Before proceeding code, make sure you have Node.js and npm installed on your system. If you haven't installed that, you can also watch my video on how you can download them. I have also provided the link of that video on my description below. Then go to your terminal and here you can specify the path where you want to create your Nest project. And first we need to install NestJS CLI globally by running npm install -g NestJS CLI command. So we have successfully installed our NestJS CLI. And now let's create your NestJS project. We need to run nest new and the name of the project. We can name it to email NestJS. And here we can choose the npm package. So let's wait until installation is completed. Now you can see here that our project is successfully created. So let me open the created Nest project. And you can see inside the SRC we have app.service.ts, its module and the controller. You can also see main.ts where we have got our backend port. And this is our package.json file. Now we can generate our module, controller and service from the CLI. For that, let's run nest generate module and we can name it email. You can see we have our email.module.ts generated, which is inside the email folder of the SRC. This module is also auto-updated in our root module, that is app.module.ts. Similarly, we can generate our controller and service as well. For controller, we can mention nest generate controller and the name of our controller. And you can also see email.controller.ts. Finally, we can create our service. Now we also have our email service. You can also see our service field being auto-updated in the module. We also need to install NodeMailer. For that, we can simply run npm install NodeMailer. So NodeMailer is simply a module for Node.js to send emails. Since we are using type features of TypeScript, we need to also run npm install save dev types NodeMailer. We will also be having authentication for username and password, which we will be storing in our .env. So for that, we need to run this config command. So that is all for installation of required packages. Let's proceed from our email service. First, we need to import our NodeMailer. We can create an email transport function. Inside this method, we will manage our host, port and auth credential. So we can now use NodeMailer.createTransport, which is used to create a reusable transporter object that we can use to send emails. Here we should mention our host, port, secure, and auth containing username and password. And finally, we are going to return our transporter. So we will be fetching this credential from our config. So let's create our .env file. Before that, let's go to our app.module.ts. Here in the imports, we should use the config module for root. It will simply help in loading the environment variables and making them accessible. And our host for Gmail will be smtp.gmail.com. And we are gonna use port 587, which is commonly used for email submission with start TLS. And for the port 587, secure is set to false, because initially NodeMailer will connect to SMTP server without TLS, and encryption is established after using start TLS command. For authentication details, this would be our sender email. And here this would be the app password, which we will generate from the sender email. And I can go to my Gmail from which I will be sending the email, and you can also go to your respective Gmail. And you just need to click on manage your Google account. And inside the security, you need to enable your two-step verification. You can see I have already enabled it. After you enable your two-step verification, you can search app passwords. So just click on this app passwords. And here you need to first provide the name. We can name it to email NestJS, and finally we can click on create. So I will copy this generated password. You can also copy your password from your Gmail from which you want to send the email. Let's go back to our .env, and I will simply paste my password here. And for the email user, I will include this Gmail which contains these app passwords. Now let's go back to our email service. So to fetch this from the config, let me include my config service here. This would be our string from the email host. Similarly, we can also get for our port. And finally for our auth part, that is of user and password. And in our module, we should also include the config module in these imports. And before creating our send email method, let's create our DTO first. So inside this folder, let me create email.dto.ts. We can add validation for our DTOs. For that, let's npm install class validator. We can configure the recipients, which will include the email address to which the email will be sent. We are mentioning array of string for recipients, since there can also be multiple email address. We are also gonna include subject HTML. For subject field, we can use each string decorator. Same each string decorator can be used for HTML field. Since text can be optional, we can use the is optional decorator. In recipients, since we are providing the array, is not empty decorator is not appropriate here. We can instead use the is email decorator, ensuring that the recipients must be an email. And here each true validates each element of the array as an email. Now finally, in our send email function, we can pass DTO here. Let's simply fetch our property from this. And let's include our return transporter. Before sending mail with transport, we also need to initialize the mail options. NodeMailer.sendMail is an interface provided by NodeMailer package, which specifies the structure of object that we pass into sendMail method to send an email. For the from field, we can get it from our .env, which is our email user. The to field will simply be the recipients from the DTO. And let also include our subject and HTML. And we can include the error in catch block. Let's mention the error in our console also. Now let's include transport and send mail with these options. We can provide the console for email successfully sent. Now let's proceed to our controller. We can inject the email service. And this will be our post request. We can set the endpoint to send. And we should also use body decorator here, since the DTO will come from the request body. And we just need to pass DTO to the send email function. And on success email, I can return message here that email sent successfully. Let's run this project using npm run start. We can see the log here that next application successfully started. Now we can test this in our Postman. So let's open our Postman. If you are new to Postman, you can watch my video on how you can install and use Postman. I have also provided the link of that video on my description below. Let's create a new collection. We can name it to email. And here we can add request. This STTP request would be of post. And we should mention our local host. You can see on our main.ts, we have initialized port to 3000. And you can see in our controller, the route for our email would be email/send. This should be raw and the body should be in JSON. And in the body, let's first include recipients to single email. So I'll just include my receiver's email. You can also include any of your Gmail. In the subject, we can give test email. And for the HTML, I will simply include this is our email service using NestJS. I will also include break HTML tag. And after break, I'll include thank you. You can give any text of your own. Now let's click on send. And you can see we are getting email send message. And in our backend console also, we can see this. So let's verify by going on recipient email. So this was my Gmail. And you can see we have successfully got an email from wilson8z@gmail.com. You can also see the provided subject and body. And we can also see the email from the sender email. This is our sender email, wilson8z. If we go to send, You can see we had sent this to JA Zone 973 with all the content we have provided. And if you want to send to multiple users, you can simply add Gmail here. And I will slightly modify this. We are again getting email success message. You can see we are again receiving in this ja.zone973. And here you can see it is been sent to our newly added Gmail also. Now let me go to this newly added Gmail account. So we had added this din06 to recipients. And in this Gmail also you can see the inbox mail which has been sent to multiple recipients. So that was all for email service in NestJS. In this video, we have successfully sent emails via SMTP using NodeMailer and Gmail in NestJS. Thank you guys for watching this video.